Okay, so I want to show you double crochet today, and if you've been practicing your stitches, this could just be the next most used one stitch that you can make like quite a bit of stuff out of, and then you can start combining your stitches and start making some even more cool stuff. So I think I'll stick with chaining 15. I have my hook and my yarn, and I made my slip stitch here like that, and then I am going to chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and once I start to get a little bit farther away, I pinch up closer to have more control. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now I want to have those 15 chains to work my project with, and for turning so that my project doesn't look funny on the sides, I have to include 2 more stitches because we're going to be doing 2 more chains, sorry, because we're going to be doing a double crochet. So I need 2 more stitches, so a chain of 17, and then I'm going to count over 2 stitches, and on your foundation chain, remember we're going to be working into this spine, and the reason you do that is so that you get a nice flat edge on your work. So I'm going to count in 2 of the spines here, if I can get close to the camera, if it might be blurry. So 1, 2, I'm going to skip those, and I'm going to yarn over on my hook, and I'm going to kind of hold on to that for this row, and I'm pushing it through my spine there. And this one can be a little bit more difficult when you first start, and so it's okay to go slow. I'm trying to do this working through camera, so my depth perception is off. And then I just yarned over, and now it looks like I have 3 loops on my hook. So then I yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's why it's called a double crochet, because you pulled through twice, double crochet. And here's your 2 stitches that kind of bubbles out, and that's totally fine. And there's your first double crochet. So we're going to do 14 more of those. So you're going to yarn over, push through the spine, I call it. Remember, I kind of just make up my own stuff, so don't quote me to professional crocheters. So then I have my 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, double crochet. See that? This one looks kind of wonky, but that is what a double crochet stitch looks like. On these hats, these little baby hats that I make, these are double crochet. So you can see that there's more of a gap in there. And so I can show you guys eventually how to make these hats. If you're interested, just let me know in the comments or message me, and I can definitely do a little hat tutorial. So then I yarn over, push through my spine, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through. Yeah, so this is double crochet. You can make a lot of stuff with single and double crochet. Remember, we're still working on finding our stitch. You can see that most of my stitches are about the same height, and that's what you're going for. Once you find your stitch, your work will look really nice and smooth. And I just always suggest that you practice until you find your stitch. Just makes your work look prettier, in my opinion. But if you are happy with what you make and your stitches aren't even but you love it, that's even better than pretty if you love your work. So I am just double crocheting through the rest of this. Remember, I was telling you guys in my first crochet video that I learned to crochet from another YouTuber. Her name was Crochet Geek. Did any of you guys check her out? I forgot to go back and look at her stuff. I've been doing so much stuff around the house and with the kids. So I'm still pushing through this spine. Remember, this is the only row where you push through that spine. Our other rows are going to be through this V on top. A teacher, when I used to work at the high school, I think she was home ec teacher. She saw me crocheting during an assembly once, and she told me how to do this one where you would get this nice straight line on your foundation row, which was going through the spine, and I'm so glad that she taught me that. Such a good trick. And if I don't pull enough tension in my stitch, I'm going to try and it's too long, you see how that one's too long, you can kind of work it and pull it a little bit tighter and shrink it down to size. If it's too tight, that's kind of harder to fix up, and so I would just recommend pulling that one out. Okay, and we just went into our last spine, and you'll know that you have enough. I'm going to pull a little loop here. You'll know that you want to count, I should say, so that you know you have 15 stitches. Remember this little spot here, that's not counting as a stitch. So I'm just going to pinch that, and then I can count and make sure that I have the right amount. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then my loop here. Or you can count your V's as well. Whatever works best for you. Now, just like we did in the beginning, when we're going to turn our work, you need to chain 2. And then you turn. So from my 15th double crochet that I did, I'm going to chain 2 so that my work can move up as I create it. So that'll give me that double crochet length that I need because it's 2 stitches tall. Some people will they'll turn their work and then they'll chain. I'm not actually sure which one's right. I just always chain and then turn. I think you should do whatever makes you happiest. So again, I am going to find this V. Remember, you count those 2 chains so that you don't go into those. And I have this nice V. It builds off of this double crochet there. Yarn over and then push through that V. And this is exactly what we did on my previous video, my single crochet and chaining video, just with less loops and yet less yarning over. So then this is, I've got my 3 loops on my hook, so I yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and there's my first stitch in this row. So I yarn over, push through that V, you can see the V right there, push through that V, yarn over, pull through, pull, pull, and there my work is building up. And once you do it enough, you can start to go really fast with this. I have been crocheting every night for about, I don't even know, years. So I can go pretty fast when I want to, but it's not about quickness. It should be about quality. So even though I can crochet really fast, I don't really recommend it just because you can end up with more errors that way. Like there's an error right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but just show you. So this kind of looks different than those, so I pushed it through in the wrong spot. And if you do that, I always recommend backing up, because little things like that kind of drive me crazy. But if it doesn't bother you, you need to, again, do what makes you happy. What I did, instead of just pushing through the V, is I pushed through that hole there, and that's why that happened. Whoops! So then you are going to keep double crocheting till you get all the way to the end of your row. Oops. Yarn over, push through, and you can see right there is that I should have that little bit of yarn there, not scooping it like I did. I scooped all the way through on my error stitch. That's not what we're doing here, though some patterns do tell you if they want you to do that. For just regular double crochet, that's not what we're doing. You're just kind of doing it this way. And that is double crochet. So now those of you that are practicing your crochet, you can practice your single crochet and you can practice your double crochet, and you can this will be a lot looser and softer than a single crochet, and that's why I make my hats with a double crochet. It also makes the work stretchier, so when you're making a hat, you want to make sure it can stretch over somebody's head. Old baby's head. I don't really make adult hats, so I asked all the time, but it's just kind of like making stuff for kids. Okay, and you can kind of see here, oh my, it's a high-pitched bark. You can kind of see here my chain. It looks like a little rainbow there on the end. I do need to go into this last V. If you're unsure if you need to do that, what I encourage you to do is go ahead and put that stitch in there, pull out some length, and then you can count. Remember, however many you chained, that's how many you want on there. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Like that. And also your edges should be relatively straight, like that. So there you go. You can make it as long as you want if you're just practicing. What's nice about yarn is you can make something and then you can take it out and keep, sorry about the dog, you guys, it's not mine. You can keep reusing that yarn if you're learning. And that way you're not wasting anything. The scarf that I made for Lehua's doll actually ended up on my son's sloth named Puppy, so he got a neck scarf, really tight one. But so there you go, there's double crochet. Remember, when you do your next row, you're going to chain 2, and that allows you to build your work upward. Turn it, and then you just double crochet 15 stitches, or however many stitches you want to make. You know, if you're making a blanket, you'll be doing quite a few. So there you are, double crochet. Hopefully I did this slow enough so that you guys can practice it. Yarn over, push through, pull through and pull through. Anyways, it's really fun. Crocheting is really fun. Again, if you want to learn some other fun stuff with crochet, let me know. I'd be happy to show you guys how to make these little hats that I make. They're really fun and make really great gifts for little newborns. So yeah, let me just finish this row and then I'll stop. So I'd be happy to do that. That involves crocheting in a round. Chain 2 for my next row, which I am happy to show you how to do. I do the way I work. You can see I work a seam in there. I like that personally. I like the way that looks, and then you always know where your back is. But yeah, I'd be happy to show you guys how to make these. It's more simple than you could imagine. So, and really fun. You can do, I've done all sorts of little critter hats, horses and cows and elephants, hippo. Anyways, there you go. There's your little crochet tutorial for tonight. This is also a blanket that I made. Super soft and really fun. This is my favorite stitch, and I use this stitch when I make my mermaid fins. Looks like scales to me. I really like it. Anywho, keep it up. Let me know if you have questions, and have a good night.